Ever feel like you're drifting, caught in the noise of everyone else's expectations, losing touch with who you really are? It's like being a ship without an anchor, lost at sea, tossed around by every wave that hits. We chase approval, validation, and the perfect image, but deep down, something still feels off. Imagine waking up each day knowing exactly who you are and what you stand for. Unshakable, confident, and true to yourself. Sounds powerful, right? Here's the secret. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about rediscovering the core that's always been there. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Ever wondered what it truly means? It's not about having less. It's about being enough. When you respect yourself, you stop bargaining your worth for temporary highs. You become immune to opinions, fears, and pressures that used to hold you back. Stick around because we're about to dive deep into powerful lessons that will help you reclaim your self-respect step by step. Hit that like, drop a comment, and subscribe, because your journey back to self is just beginning. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Lesson 1. Know your values, anchoring your inner compass. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. Understanding your values is like setting the foundation for a strong, resilient life. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of others' opinions, trends, and societal pressures, but true self-respect begins with knowing what you stand for. Imagine values as the compass that guides your decisions, actions, and even your thoughts. When you are clear about your values, you don't just react to life, you respond with purpose. It's the difference between floating aimlessly in a sea of external noise and steering your own ship toward your true north. Values are not just about lofty ideals. They are the principles that shape your everyday actions. Maybe it's integrity, honesty, compassion, or courage. These aren't just words. They are the benchmarks against which you measure your life. Ask yourself what truly matters to me. Is it family, personal growth, authenticity, or kindness? If you don't define these, you risk being defined by someone else's standards. Think about it. How many times have you compromised on something important to you just to fit in or to avoid conflict? Every time you do that, you chip away at your self-respect, and over time it can leave you feeling lost and disconnected from your true self. Knowing your values helps you set boundaries, make decisions, and most importantly, hold yourself accountable. It's not about being perfect, but about being true. When you make choices aligned with your values, you build a deep sense of self-trust. You start to see that you are living on your terms, not anyone else's. This clarity simplifies life's complexities. Should you take that job offer? Does that relationship serve you? Are you spending your time in ways that matter? The answers become clearer when you measure them against your core values. Moreover, aligning with your values empowers you to say no without guilt and yes without doubt. You start prioritizing what aligns with your inner compass, and suddenly, the weight of other people's expectations lifts. Self-respect isn't just about standing up for yourself. It's about knowing when to walk away, when to stay true, and when to push back against the noise. This isn't a one-time thing, it's a daily practice. It's in the small choices you make every day, from the people you surround yourself with to the way you handle setbacks and success. So, take a moment, reflect, write down your top 5 values. Keep them where you can see them. Let them guide you, remind you, and ground you. Every time you align your actions with your values, you reinforce the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. And that's where true self-respect is born. Lesson 2. Embrace discomfort, the path to genuine growth. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. Discomfort isn't something to be feared. It's a powerful signal that you're on the edge of growth. Most people spend their lives running away from it, building walls of comfort zones that keep them safe but stagnant. But here's the truth. If you want to truly respect yourself, you have to learn to embrace discomfort. It's in those uneasy moments, the ones that challenge your patience, test your limits, and push you beyond what's familiar, that real transformation happens. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's a mirror reflecting the areas where you need to grow, adapt, and overcome. Think about the times when you've avoided difficult conversations, dodged opportunities out of fear, or settled for less because it felt safer. Each avoidance was a moment where you chose comfort over self-respect. It's easy to stay in a job that doesn't fulfill you or a relationship that drains you because the thought of change feels overwhelming. But every time you choose the easy path, you reinforce a narrative that you're not worth the challenge. Self-respect is built in those moments when you confront the uncomfortable and decide to keep moving forward, even when it's hard. Embracing discomfort means understanding that failure, rejection, and setbacks are not reflections of your worth. They are essential steps on the road to becoming who you are meant to be. When you face these challenges head-on, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. This resilience is what strengthens your self-respect. Instead of seeing discomfort as a sign to retreat, start seeing it as an invitation to grow. When you push through those tough workouts, speak up in that intimidating meeting, or stand your ground in a tough conversation, you're not just surviving, you're evolving. It's also important to remember that discomfort isn't just about the big, dramatic challenges. It's in the small, daily moments too. Like choosing to wake up early when you'd rather sleep in, taking on tasks that stretch your skills, or admitting when you're wrong. Each of these actions, although small, builds a foundation of self-discipline and inner strength. They are the quiet, powerful affirmations that you respect yourself enough to do what's necessary, not just what's easy. So instead of avoiding discomfort, start welcoming it. Each time you step into the unknown, you're proving to yourself that you are worthy of the effort. You're showing up for you. And every time you do, you're laying down another brick in the path of your own self-respect. Embrace the discomfort. It's the rough terrain that will shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and deeply connected to who you truly are. Lesson 3, control what you can, let go of the rest. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. One of the most liberating lessons in life is realizing that you can't control everything, but you can always control how you respond. We often waste precious energy trying to manage the uncontrollable, other people's opinions, the past, the future, random setbacks, and unexpected changes. This constant struggle leaves us exhausted, anxious, and feeling powerless. But self-respect starts with knowing where your true power lies, within yourself. It's not about surrendering or giving up. It's about focusing your energy where it truly matters, on your actions, thoughts, and mindset. Imagine your mind as a garden. You can't control the weather, but you can choose what you plant, how you nurture it, and what weeds you pull out. The weather, much like life, will be unpredictable, sometimes stormy, sometimes sunny. But your responsibility lies in tending to your garden, not trying to change the weather. When you start directing your focus inward, on the things you can influence, you take back control. You stop reacting to every negative comment, every minor inconvenience, and every disappointing outcome. Instead, you respond with purpose, grace, and strength. Letting go of what you can't control doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've learned to care in healthier ways. For instance, you can't control if someone dislikes you, but you can control how you treat others and how you let their opinions affect you. You can't control the outcome of every situation, but you can control the effort you put in and the attitude you bring. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering. It turns you from a victim of circumstances into an active participant in your own life. Think about the endless what-ifs that often plague your mind. What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if things don't go as planned? These thoughts are like mental quicksand, dragging you down and keeping you stuck. But when you anchor yourself in what you can control, these worries lose their grip. You start asking more constructive questions. What can I do right now? How can I improve? How will I choose to feel about this? This mindset isn't about denial, it's about reclaiming your agency and respecting your boundaries, knowing when to fight and when to release. Ultimately, controlling what you can and letting go of the rest isn't just a strategy, it's a way of life. It's the daily practice of choosing your responses, managing your emotions, and living by your values no matter what chaos swirls around you. It's saying, I respect myself too much to be dragged down by things I can't change. When you adopt this mindset, you don't just survive life's challenges, you rise above them. with your self-respect firmly intact. So let go of the need to control everything. Focus on mastering yourself, and watch as the noise of the world fades into the background of your unshakable inner peace. Lesson 4. Set boundaries. Protect your inner space. No one can harm you without your permission. Epictetus. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect you can practice. It's about drawing a line around your time, energy, and emotions, deciding what you will and will not allow into your life. Often, people think boundaries are about keeping others out, but in reality, they're about keeping yourself in, protecting your peace, your values, and your well-being. Without boundaries, you become vulnerable to being pulled in every direction by the demands, expectations, and needs of others. You end up saying yes when you mean no, overextending yourself and feeling drained. But when you set clear boundaries, you send a powerful message. I value myself, and I won't sacrifice my well-being for the sake of pleasing others. Boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines for how you want to be treated and how you treat yourself. They are the rules of engagement that dictate what is acceptable in your relationships and interactions. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed or taken advantage of. It was likely a situation where a boundary was crossed, either because it wasn't set clearly or it wasn't respected. Self-respect demands that you take responsibility for communicating your boundaries. This means being honest about what you can and cannot tolerate, even if it makes others uncomfortable. Saying no does not make you selfish. It makes you self-aware. It's not your job to manage others' reactions to your boundaries. It's your job to honor your own needs. Many of us struggle with setting boundaries because we fear rejection, conflict, or being seen as difficult. But remember, those who genuinely respect you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't were benefiting from your lack of them. Establishing boundaries is not just about protecting yourself from others, it's also about protecting others from your resentment. When you constantly stretch yourself thin, giving more than you have, it's easy to become bitter, frustrated, and distant. Healthy boundaries prevent this by ensuring that you give from a place of abundance, not depletion. Setting boundaries also requires you to respect your own limits. It's not just about saying no to others, it's also about saying no to yourself when needed, whether it's overworking, overcommitting, or overindulging. It's a commitment to self-care, to recognizing when you need rest, reflection, or simply some time alone. Boundaries keep you aligned with your values, ensuring that your actions match your priorities. In the end, boundaries are the foundation of self-respect. They create space for you to live authentically, without the constant pressure to conform or compromise. They empower you to stand firm in who you are, without feeling guilty or apologetic. So, start defining your boundaries. Communicate them clearly, and most importantly, enforce them consistently. Your peace of mind, sense of self, and overall well-being depend on it. You deserve to protect your inner space fiercely, because no one else will do it for you. Lesson 5. Practice self-discipline. Master yourself to master your life. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. Self-discipline is the backbone of self-respect. It's the ability to make choices that align with your long-term goals, even when faced with temptation, distraction, or the desire for immediate gratification. While it's easy to give in to the moment, whether it's hitting snooze on your alarm, indulging in unhealthy habits, or procrastinating on important tasks, every time you let these impulses dictate your actions, you weaken your self-respect. On the other hand, practicing self-discipline is an act of honoring your commitments to yourself, proving that your word to yourself matters. It's about showing up for yourself day in and day out, even when no one else is watching. Self-discipline is often misunderstood as self-denial, but it's actually about self-liberation. It frees you from the chaos of reactive living and puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. When you practice discipline, you're not just building better habits, you're building a stronger, more resilient character. It's waking up early to work on your dreams, even when your bed feels like the most comfortable place on earth. It's choosing the healthy meal over the quick junk food fix, knowing that your body deserves better. It's putting in the work, day after day, even when motivation fades and all you have left is the willpower to keep going. Every small act of self-discipline adds up, creating a foundation of trust within yourself. You start to see that you are capable of doing hard things, of making sacrifices for a greater good, and of staying true to your intentions. This internal strength translates into every aspect of your life, from your career to your relationships to your personal growth. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself no matter what. Self-discipline doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you get back up, recommit, and keep pushing forward. It's about progress, not perfection. Moreover, self-discipline is a powerful antidote to regret. Think of all the times you've looked back wishing you'd started earlier, tried harder, or stuck with something longer. Regret is often the result of neglecting your inner commitments. But when you practice discipline, you minimize those moments of, "I wish I had," and replace them with, "I'm proud I did." It's not just about achieving goals. It's about living in alignment with who you want to be. It's about building a life that reflects your highest values and aspirations. Ultimately, self-discipline is a form of self-respect. It's the daily practice of choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's the quiet, relentless pursuit of your better self, the constant refining of your actions to match your ideals. And while the path of discipline isn't always easy, it is always worth it. So take control, start small, stay consistent, and watch as your self-discipline transforms not just your habits, but your entire sense of self. Lesson 6. Accept responsibility. Own your choices in your life. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. Accepting responsibility is one of the most empowering acts you can perform for yourself. It's about owning your choices, your actions, and the consequences that come with them. Too often we fall into the trap of blaming circumstances, other people, or sheer bad luck for our problems. But this mindset only strips away our power. When you point fingers, you relinquish control, positioning yourself as a victim of life rather than an active participant. True self-respect demands that you step up and own your role in everything that happens to you. This doesn't mean you have control over every event, but you do have control over your responses, your mindset, and the way you choose to move forward. Taking responsibility is a radical act of self-honesty. It's acknowledging where you've fallen short, where you've made mistakes, and where you could have done better without spiraling into self-blame or shame. It's about recognizing that, while external factors may influence your situation, your response is entirely up to you. For instance, if you're unhappy in your job, blaming your boss or your circumstances won't change anything. But if you accept responsibility, you reclaim the power to make a change, whether it's improving your skills, seeking a new role, or adjusting your attitude. This proactive approach not only builds self-respect, but also reinforces your capacity to shape your own destiny. Accepting responsibility also means owning the choices that have led you to where you are now, both good and bad. It's easy to take credit when things go well, but it's equally important to acknowledge your part in setbacks. This doesn't mean you should be hard on yourself. Instead, it's about learning from each experience. When you own your choices, you give yourself the gift of growth. Every mistake becomes a lesson, every misstep a stepping stone, and every challenge an opportunity to become wiser and stronger. It's a mindset shift from feeling helpless to feeling empowered. Moreover, accepting responsibility fosters better relationships. When you're accountable, you don't shy away from admitting when you're wrong or when you've let someone down. This honesty builds trust and respect not just from others, but also within yourself. You start to see that being responsible isn't a burden. It's a powerful statement of integrity. It's saying, "I am in charge of my life, and I will not shy away from the hard truths." This attitude not only earns you the respect of others, but also deepens your self-respect, because you're living authentically, without excuses. In the end, responsibility is the cornerstone of personal freedom. It's about realizing that you are the author of your own story, capable of rewriting any chapter you choose. By taking responsibility, you stop waiting for others to change or for circumstances to be perfect. Instead, you take charge, make the best of what you have, and carve out the life you truly deserve. Own your life, and you'll discover a level of self-respect and empowerment that no one can ever take away from you. Self-respect isn't just about big, bold moments. It's in the small daily choices that shape who you are. Every lesson, every insight, is a step closer to reclaiming your power and living life on your terms. But here's the kicker. Knowing is one thing, doing is another. So, which lesson hit home for you? What's that one thing you've been putting off that you're now ready to tackle? Let's keep this conversation going. Drop a comment below because your perspective could be the spark someone else needs. And hey, if this resonated with you, hit that like button. It's a small act, but it's another way of saying yes to your own growth. Don't miss out on the journey ahead. Subscribe and be part of this community of individuals who aren't just talking about change, they're living it. We've got more insights, more deep dives, and more moments of truth coming your way. Together, we're not just learning, we're transforming. So let's make a pact. Commit to one act of self-respect today, no matter how small, and watch how it sets the tone for everything else. See you in the next one.